Ontario. Looking to play quick ball again. Big challenge in Saskatchewan's the wind, so it's not a bad option to just do the tap.
That girl got a hand right to the face, and I think she is going to be in some distress there. What a shot onto number 5 for British Columbia, Tess Woldring, and she is slow to get up. Play continues. Trainer out to treat her now. Brought down immediately is Jenna Press into the line from Ontario. And now that's the fly half, Angela Godfrey. Now, under 20, you can do squeeze ball. The under 19 guys can't. So a bit of an age difference thing there. Emily Babcock. So the wind is really starting to pick up here at our position. You can hear the tarp overhead snapping around in the wind, and feel like we're on a sailboat about to get into some trouble.
BC looks a lot more organized tonight on defense, Doug. That's one thing that Chile did say they were working on.
So Tess Woldring is going to go off the field, and I hope she's all right.
So, Doug, some of these refs were in Toronto with you at the Pan Am Games, weren't they?
Yeah, that's right. Chris Asmus had a number of games. Nathan Absenauer working sideline, and so they're all pretty tired. You can see everyone's kind of lagging a bit at times. It's a lot to ask doing triple header games as well this week.
They'll be thankful that they're doing some U20 games in some bit cooler weather.
That's right.
As opposed to some sevens at international level.
Yeah, nothing like going to a track meet for the weekend. A lot of running in sevens. Now, getting past the gain line, that's the fullback, Petra Woods. Good distribution in passing by the prop, Catherine Iliano. BC making their tackles, but Ontario finding the gain line with almost every touch of the ball. I think that's been stolen. It has been by BC, by the tight head prop, Kate Shevink. That was Coach Crowley's daughter, Nicole. Karen Crowley's daughter playing rugby for BC, and maybe a spot for Canada in the making there. Susan Garwood going into contact for Ontario.
Good continuity.
That might be the release they were looking for. Oh, gathered in. A nice tackle by British Columbia. Staying with the player the whole way and completing the tackle. Always important. And spilled ball goes back. So Ontario trying to gather that in. It's been hacked on by a BC player. So a frantic bit of play. Ontario showing good ball handling skills in tight quarters there.
Yeah, you know what? I have a feeling that, like you said, the Ontario Storm is quite powerful, and they're going to wear down BC. BC's living off scraps right now, and they're forcing the passes. They just need to be patient, stay with the forwards like Ontario is right now.
The opening 7 minutes, they've had relatively zero possession except for a couple of spilled ball opportunities.
BC's making their tackles, but they're slow to get up. Ontario's got some strong runners.
And look at that scrum just rolling along, putting BC under pressure. Ontario, oh, now there's a big break. Can she go it alone? One to beat. And she's shaking off the would-be tackler. That is outside half, Nikisa Lavalle. And she will not go coast to coast, but practically good 65-meter try there from Lavalle.
Yeah, that's a great individual run, Doug. You see how she went to space when she broke through that hole. She's got a good step, good acceleration. She backed herself. Great run.
So that puts BC on the front foot score-wise.
Good patience by BC on defense. Ontario held onto the ball, like you say, for the first 3-4 minutes. BC was very patient, and when they got their opportunity, they struck.
So the kick to come right in front of the post with the wind at her back. Kicker's looking for the tee. I think that's Nicole Crowley. No, that's the inside center, Maddie Gold. So she's going to drop kick that one, and boy, for the want of a tee, they gave away 2 points there.
Yeah, you need to be dialed in. Precious points at the start of the game can change the game by the end of the game. She's not very happy, but hopefully that doesn't cost our team.
It's one of those things, just keeping an eye on the details, and if you lose by 2 points, to say, who's in charge of the tee? And you start looking around going, I don't know.
My maintenance, Doug, when I'm kicking in a 15s game, I have a dedicated tee person, and I make sure they're dialed.
A tee caddy.
That's
nice. Right. Go with the number 3 tee if there's a big wind, get some loft on it. Restart from Ontario. That's a high floating offering. Well-timed pressure for BC now. Handing that ball off to Margaret LaVerge. Ontario's stolen that. Well, it's a bit messy. And now Chris Asmus has seen enough. Saying offside. And a good passing from the tackle situation as they're getting wrapped. They have the presence of mind to pass, and that's what's getting them big strides along the gain line.
If you look at the defensive shape of both teams on the back heels, they got very organized, communicating well.
So now BC looking to clear their lines. They're under some pressure, and that'll offer up a counterattack opportunity as the ball doesn't find touch. Folks, you can really hear the wind on our microphones, and I'd offer up the gusts are 40 to 50 kilometers an hour.
Getting up there pretty close.
And now try scored. Be hard pressed to tell you who that is from here, but hopefully the scoring table will send that over to us by text.
Yeah, Ontario's playing a high-tempo game right now. BC off every penalty is going to have to be on their toes to react to them. They're well organized on the turnover ball. They're moving it wide and putting a lot of pressure. This kicker's going to have her hands full in this wind.
Yeah, that's a pretty stern test over on that touchline. She might even need a hand to pin that ball down.
How did the games go earlier today, Doug?
Very tight contest between who did I just watch? It was the Rock and Ontario Blues, and it was only a point in it after an hour, 6-5, and then Ontario pulled away. But a good show by the Atlantic Rock. As we watch that kick nearly go across, but the wind repels it at the last minute. So Ontario winning their second of this tournament. That was the Rock's first outing. So BC will start this. Now it looks like you're in a belt buckle competition of some sort. You're looking like you're ready for the rodeo.
Yeah, I was. We got the Weyburn Rodeo going on just down south that we're sponsoring. So I was just getting set up for that today. Got my Saskatchewan tuxedo on.
Yeah, a lot of denim there, head to toe. Flipping back inside, good interplay by the Blues. Crisp passing. Robin thinking a penalty should have been called. Stolen by BC now. The fend off. Scrum half is Nicole Crowley. She's gotten it to midfield now. So they're going to come back for the knock-on.
Doug, I'm really impressed with that Ontario forward pack. Their breakdown is just dominant right now.
Yeah, I think that's where BC's struggling a little bit to impose themselves. They're just getting pushed off the ball. Now another
wheeled.
Yeah, all pulling the scrum down. Now it's a new scoreboard, but don't think the score's quite right. They're showing it 5-all. There hasn't been a score by BC.
Yeah, BC scored.
Oh, sorry, yeah, I haven't put it up on the board. Yeah, Ontario hasn't scored yet.
Ontario just scored in the corner.
Okay, there you go. So it is 5-all. It's working fine. I'm broken.
Well, I don't know if Ontario's has a quick tap game plan, high tempo, or they're just prepared for the win, not wanting to kick for touch.
Yeah, they don't want that thing coming back at them.
It's a good quick ruck by Ontario.
Oh, big tackle there. All kinds of numbers there to the left. Now pouring through. BC scrambling to bring those Ontario ball carriers down. But they're tightly knit, tightly bunched, aren't they? Ontario should be spreading out a bit more.
Using the space.
Yeah, they've got almost the whole forward line and the back line behind them there. Now
Ontario's
quick tap.
Just too dominant at the breakdown situation, and BC's forced to make penalties.
She sold a nice dummy there. Now the pass goes backward for Ontario. That's the fullback, Petra Woods. And another try for Ontario.
Well, Doug, it's exciting to see these young under-20 women playing from across the country, with the Canadian women being one of the top 2 teams in the world in both 15s and 7s. A lot of these girls, the opportunity for women's rugby is growing every day. Oh,
yeah, it's so exciting to see, the 15s team finish second in the World Cup. Petra Woods scored that try, and then gold medal just this past weekend for a 7s team at the Pan Am Games.
What was it like to be in Toronto for that double gold medal?
I tell you what, I saw a ton of people going, this is a great sport, and I want to see it again. A lot of first-timers to it, and what a great showcase it was for it. And, you get patriotic, too. The sea of red, and it is home field advantage, rare for Canadian rugby to do something huge like that in front of a home audience.
Absolutely. The Canadian men and women 7s team have had a lot of success around the world in recent years, and just talking to Nathan Hirayama and a few of the women, just seeing them having that elevation of winning on home soil was just the best feeling ever. And I know all the games I played around the world, it's in Rugby Nations, it's we never had the opportunity to play at home, and it's, for that to happen, as you and I discussed in Toronto, with such a large crowd, it will change our game, I think, forever.
And games like this are so important to uncover those next young athletes that will pick up the challenge. And, there's the Olympics next year, but then in 4 years there's another one. Well, the athletes that are going next year probably won't be going to the next Olympics unless they're very young.
Absolutely, and they also have the Women's 7 Series now, and Pan Am Games. So many different opportunities, Commonwealth Games. I think that that women's 7s team is going to be harder than the Canadian men's hockey team pretty soon with the depth chart now. That's
right. So Ontario, miscue there. Advantage being played. That's one of the blue BC players getting driven back hard, getting to the midfield now, Maddie Gold.
BC's going to have to work harder off that ball and attack. They're all too flat, running sideways and moving the ball across the field.
So Madison Pretand getting pegged for not releasing the tackled player, not rolling away. And running in with the ball is Kate Shevink. And now another penalty. And usually that means Chris Asmus is getting close to pulling the card out. Maddie Gold into contact. And cut down at pace. A great tackle, leaving a BC player in a heap. And now another penalty. And is it going to be time off? Possibly, because that's 3 in a row. And maybe getting some advice from his side assistant referee.
Well, the sun's trying to come out right now. We're kind of in a bit of a rain shadow here.
Yeah.
We'll take it.
And it's a yellow card against Ontario. Come on, Eagle Eyes. Who's going off there? I think that might be Petra Woods, the try scorer, the fullback.
With 15?
Yeah. So Petra Woods rushing over to get herself seated because that's when the clock starts for her sin bin time.
Was it on the tackle or is it an offside call?
Well, I feel like it was a repeated infringement because that was 3 penalties in a row. So, yeah, it could have been repeated offside there.
We got one more game up after this one, Doug.
That's right. It's going to be
here.
Voyageurs and Ontario. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Hang on.
Throwing you under the bus here live.
I've got it all right here. Yeah, it's going to be the Blues and the Voyageurs, which is, the Voyageurs are partially made up of Eastern Ontario players and Quebec players, which is a neat mix.
Nice.
We got it. Is it a BC player or an Ontario player down over there? Looks like.
There's a number of selectors in town as well, Doug.
Yeah, Ken Goodlin, Jen Boyd for the women, Ken Goodlin for the men. Both the under-20 coaches just having a look-see, create their own depth charts and see who might feature the next year or two for those respective teams. So BC with a chance here now, just a couple of meters out. Don't forget, they have up a player right now. As Gold goes into contact. Now spinning it left. Maybe holding on to it a moment too long. No, it's going to be the outside center, Mackenzie Fowler, touching down for BC. And that will square things up again at 10-all.
That number 10, that fly half for BC, is really the great little game breaker.
Nikisa Lavallee.
Thank you. Good vision, good skills, broke the hole and looked for the offload. That was a good line as well by the outside center.
So BC's got their tee organized now. And will that be the difference for Lavallee? We'll find out. Wind at her back, but this kind of wind can be not so helpful.
It's like rolling the dice. You just want to hang it up in the middle and let the wind do the rest.
So she's going to come around hard on the left approach. Yeah, she wants that ball to hang up there and just fade through the posts. Oh, a little too hard to the right there. The wind wasn't going to help her that much. So we stay knotted at 10-all. An interesting contest through this opening 20 minutes or so.
Yeah, it's going to be a try-scoring game today, Doug. I don't think too many teams will be taking the points or having much luck with their converts, so they're focused on finishing their tries.
With the restart, the Blues. And that's Tess Woldring back in the game. She took quite a hit to the face in the first minute of this game, but glad to see she's back. Now spilled ball as the tackle was being put in. Ontario's grabbed it. What can they do with it? Going a couple of meters. Recycle ball. Some aggressive running there by the flanker, Emily Babcock.
Ontario opting to go quick again.
Good ball handling skills being shown by the Storm. Oh, and that's just been nudged forward by a foot, but not before a penalty from...
See if BC opts for the touch this time, deep in their end.
Yeah, I don't want to give that a ride.
Even if they keep it in bounds and let it roll, that's fine too.
Oh, and they want that one again. Maddie Gold not too happy with that effort.
Tough to hit the office in this win.
So it'll be Jillian Bogue to throw in. And that's pegged or stolen by Ontario.
They have the advantage off the knock-on in the line-out.
Going laterally, so no advantage gained yet. In fact, they're going backwards, so could be quite a long advantage here going back to the original line-out problem.
There's a knock-on off Ontario. BC's now playing the advantage.
So he gave advantage to them going backwards. Guess they kept possession.
I believe believe once it's gone a certain yardage,
Yeah.
the advantage is lost.
Now the Blue Storm trying to regroup. So the BC defense well organized. That ball's gone loose. Immediately snapped up by the girls in gold. No, a Storm player got to it. But knock on being called first by Asmus. So, Robin, when you're not hanging out at rodeos or brewing beer, your other job is coaching the women's Mexican Sevens team, and you're going on a pretty interesting foray next month.
Yeah, really looking forward to that. We have the World 7 Series for Women qualifier in Dublin, Ireland. I got a 1-week camp in Mexico City. That's where they're based out of to prep them, and then hopefully qualify as one of the mainstay teams, core teams next month. That's
a huge thing to shoot for because teams that play in that improve so quickly playing in regular competition.
Well, the nice thing in Sevens is there's always upsets, there's always opportunities. So our program's moving forward, but we definitely have some stiff competition in Europe.
The Storm doing well. We'll recycle this ball, going about 5 phases now. They're 10 meters into the BC half.
It's been a physical first 10 minutes of the game. BC's got good numbers out wide. They're going to want to go quick.
Not rolling away in the tackle. Kick to touch by BC, buys quite a bit of yardage there. They'll take themselves into the Ontario half.
BC's coach, Dave Grisdale, he's a legendary goal kicker for BC himself. He was a Cowichan 2-time provincial champion in the Premier League and then won once with the Port Alberni Black Sheep. He actually taught me how to kick that, man, so he'll be looking for better results from his kickers.
Oh, nice bit of interplay there now. Basketball pass, keep the drive alive. That's LaValle. Have the Blues stolen again? A Storm have stolen it again? No, it's a knock on. So the shiny new clock showing 7 minutes left in this opening 30-minute period. And playing 1-hour games here in this format this week. Do you play a different kind of game, do you think, when it's a slightly shorter format? I guess, to your point, maybe not taking those penalty kicks in that you're only getting a certain number of possessions to try and score.
Yeah, absolutely, especially in a tight game.
We're tied at 10 here, and I think if a penalty was offered in the next few minutes, someone might take it now that it is tied.
Absolutely, and you know what? With BC, the wind at their backs, as swirly as it is, I'd be wanting to corner them, keep them down in their end of the park, because obviously they're not kicking back into the wind, so you can really put pressure on them, obviously.
Yeah, I think Ontario's just willing themselves to halftime when they'll have that wind at their back and then try and play that tactic.
Be nice to see a couple Gary Owens in the second half just hanging right up and put all kinds of pressure on them.
Yeah, look for that ball to pop out and make someone deal with it. Now a penalty. BC retreating. Ontario having to think about it.
Fairly undisciplined by both sides in the first half, but a lot of intensity in the breakdown situation.
So the Blues opting to kick. They don't find touch, and now it'll be the counterattack from number 16, who we don't have on the field or on the score sheet.
She's got some serious pace.
And this is Kira Malone, the fullback, and she has been a threat every time she touches the ball.
Lots of pressure on Crowley from Ontario. Her forwards are going to want to clean out that ball.
Now getting it down the line. There's a bit of an overlap if they could clean up their passing. Oh, and just as she was going to pass, an Ontario player tackled the BC player and prevented the clean distribution there. LaValle going it alone. She's feeding that ball back.
That's a good set of skills off her left foot. I thought she was a bit obstructed by the Ontario player when she didn't have the ball.
Margaret LaVerge getting pushed back. Now that's the fly half. LaValle. That was Gold that we were talking about earlier, number 12. Here's LaValle. Oh, and a drop pass as it gets to Mackenzie Fowler. Advantage being played, none coming, and so the Storm will have a scrum, and we're showing just 4 minutes left on the clock till halftime.
So, Doug, what's next for you after this week?
A little unclear. Maybe going out to the Pacific Nations Cup in Burnaby next week, and then a bunch of those teams coming back to Toronto for July the 29th for triple header at BMO Field. And, just sort of following the team around. And
they're down in San Jose this weekend, aren't they?
Yeah, they got a big game against Japan, team that looked like they were going to beat them last year in Burnaby, and then the second half collapse. The Cherry Blossoms come away with a big win there, so a lot hanging in the balance for this rematch. LaValle holding on to that one. Quick pass, bounces, but is ultimately knocked on by Erica Dixon. Yeah, it's always exciting when it's a World Cup year on the men's side, but boy, they got a tall task ahead of them as a Canadian team.
Well, I saw that Tyson DeGoody, Hans DeGoody's son, is getting his first cap, and that's very exciting for that legendary family.
Yeah, he obviously had played some sevens before, but sort of went off and did his own thing in the carpentry world. Now he's re-emerging, and I think got that rugby itch again, or maybe squared away some money and everything and said, all right, now I'm ready to take a chance at rugby again.
Yeah, he's a big, strong player. Good Victoria kid. I think originally from Courtenay, BC.
Quite the rugby family, including the daughters, uncles that are referees, and dad who's a legend, Hans. That's Maddie Gold. She's had a lot of touches of the ball this afternoon. The structure just not clear here by BC. They've got to set their lines a little quicker.
Yeah, they're not hitting the ball at pace. They're getting it standing right now.
LaValle getting it to Mackenzie Fowler. She pops that pass back. It's Kira Malone trying to step through a couple of Ontario tacklers. She's brought to ground. And now that Ontario player's got to get out of the way. She's done it ultimately. And now that's flanker Chelsea Fowler going into contact.
It's a bit better at pace. Crowley's running a good show at 9 right now. She's organizing her forwards, and she's giving good ball to her 10.
Now I've seen Nicole Crowley play fly half as well. And yeah, I got to agree. She's pretty useful at the scrum half spot. Margaret LaVerge with the ball now. Down the line to Fowler. Maddie Gold now. Great pass from her back. There's Crowley as the link through. Kira Malone trying to get around the corner. She's stopped. So great passage of pressure here by BC. Phase after phase, but Ontario equal to the task. Now the drop ball frustrating the team.
That was a great pass by LaValle as well, under pressure.
Yeah. So the Blues kind of a sigh of relief with about 30 seconds left in this first half. They thought for sure that the BC team would punch through for success.
It's been an exciting first 30 minutes, Doug. End to end, lots of contact, lots of penalties, couple big great tries.
So Ontario slow to get this ball, and I don't think they should count on the scoreboard clock as being the right time necessarily. They may kick it on into touch and think it's halftime and still have to deal with the ball.
Now, Doug, in this format, is the sin bin still 10 minutes in a 15s game, or how does that work?
There was some discussion in the meeting of the managers that it was going to be 10 minutes, and now that we are at halftime, and so I'm going to find out. They did want to prorate them to 7 minutes, 30 seconds for a 30-minute game. So we're going to take a quick break and reset as the young ladies take a well-deserved break and a drink. For Robin McDowell, I'm Doug Cross. We'll be back with more Canadian Rugby Championship action from Regina.
Looking for some quality family time this spring? Why not visit the Butchart Gardens? Okay, at first I wasn't sure, but wow, the colors and fragrance, it's truly beautiful. And there's plenty of family activities to enjoy, including the Rose Carousel, the Family Discovery Walk, and great dining options. Youth and Child 12-month passes make it easier to take it all in now and all year long. The Butchart Gardens. I'm sold, and my ladies love it.
And welcome back to Regina, Saskatchewan. I'm Doug Cross, along with Robin McDowell, and we've got a titanic battle here, Robin. These two teams tied at 10-all. Ontario, though, I would say has got a 15-point wind at their back right now.
Yeah, let's see if they use it. BC didn't use it to their advantage in the first half, but they did run well with ball in hand. We'll see if they start hanging the ball up. They got a tailwind.
So the Storm will get this underway in the second half. Bouncing ball going an eternity and still trying to gather it in as BC right at their own goal line now. That's the flanker, Emily, nope, not Emily
Morgan
Babcock.
Walker.
Morgan Walker, there you go.
That was the deep kick we were talking about.
Yeah, the wind just carried it and carried it. And now you see BC trying to clear their lines. Takes an Ontario bounce now. And so it'll be a line out for Ontario with pretty decent field position off that opening kickoff.
You can see the flag just rattling there with the touch judge.
Yeah, it'll be tough to keep these throws accurate. Ontario dropping a couple of players as extra attackers. Feeling confident about their throwing pod. Oh, and that goes BC side. So that wind did push that ball a little bit. You got to make those adjustments. Knock on from the Storm, so it'll be a BC put in.
Doug, are you familiar with that Ontario coach?
Not so much, no. So can't help you there.
Yeah, no worries.
So we went from pretty stormy conditions. The sun's peeking out now here at Regina Rugby Park. It's been pretty good weather here all week long. That ball in, and the Storm just about stole it. Now it's back foot, a BC player, but Crowley is wrapped up by her opposite number. And that is some feisty stuff from the Storm.
Good pressure by BC in their 22.
Ontario inside the 22-meter line of BC. Now it's going the other direction, trying to kick out of trouble, and chase it now is Kira Malone. And, she hits the ground awkwardly as she was trying to get to that ball. She's taken some hard knocks today, and she's such a speedy girl, but when she's going full pace and hits the ground, you got to worry about her a little bit. Good tackles being put in, good technical tackles around the ankles, bringing the players down immediately. Now Ontario trying to bust through that gain line. And the BC players came through the gate. No, they did not.
Ontario had numbers left.
So now do they back themselves to having a penalty kicker here, or are they going to kick for touch, it looks like? Yeah, I think they're going to go for the corner. That'd be a little ambitious even with a good tailwind from that distance. Oh, that didn't find touch, and BC running it right back at Ontario. Thought for sure they would have found touch on that kick. Good ball handling by the Blues. Even the ball It's drifting low. They're able to get to it. Shoe top height. Keeping it tight from the ruck. Ball spilled. And now Crowley just giving that a ride down the field. But it'll be a counterattack now by Petra Woods, the fullback. And going into the line is hooker Cassidy Calvert. Oh, and it's getting feisty in there. That ball's in there somewhere. Ontario prop is down now. She's not feeling too well. Catherine Iliano lying on her back in pain. Now second row, Caitlin Richard getting away with it. And it's just a very tight defensive struggle. No one getting away with anything. And a couple of steps and you're down. Nice spin pass now to the fly half. Angela Godfrey. That ball blocked. Now foot race to get to it. It's Malone again. And she really is keen to get to those loose balls at the fullback position. You think she wouldn't have that many chances, but she's sneaking right up in the line and going after those.
She's a good little player. I think it might be Cassidy Walker, the hooker, that's down right now for Ontario. See if they stop the play here.
I've got Calvert. Cassidy Calvert.
You're right.
There you go. Hey, regardless, Cassidy is up. Calvert or Walker, and she's walking her way back to her team. And she'll be just fine. Sometimes you get those stingers and you just need a couple of lungs of air and a little, this hurts, and it'll go away, and you close your eyes.
Water, yeah. Back in action.
What's the worst you ever got hurt where you could stay in a game?
Well, I spat out 4 teeth my first tournament in Dubai. I hit a large Welshman, and he just kept going, and I spat out 4 teeth. But
yikes. Stay in the game?
Stayed in the game, broke a thumb, and woke up the next morning and I couldn't have breakfast. So that was shameful, because on those tours they watch
food.
what you eat all week, and then you get a kind of gorge on the Sunday. And I filled my plate and walked away with it with a glass of water and went to the dentist.
Oh, boy. Were you wearing the gum shield? What happened there?
Yeah, I got him from the side. I got a hip right in the side of the mouth, so it was a bit of an awkward play, but I wasn't going to come off the field for that one.
Yeah. So they're having trouble settling the scrum here.
Another penalty for Ontario.
Quick tap. And now they're engaging with the BC line.
Ontario's backs in this half are better organized, Doug. They need to use them.
Yeah, I was just thinking that they're staying tight in their formation and not spreading that ball around like they should be. And maybe we'll see a bit of that now. Susan Garwood into the line now.
Well, the BC-Ontario rivalry dates back for a long, long time. So these teams, not too much love out there.
No, they know this is the one that they circled on the calendar that would potentially decide this whole thing. The winner of this one takes it all. And the thing with this format is it could end as a 10-10 draw. There won't be any overtime, so could make the rest of the tournament interesting in terms of you got to score as many as you can to counter what the other team's doing in the other games.
Points for and against matter.
Yeah. Now BC lost their opener, so that'll hurt them quite a bit, whereas Ontario won theirs. So win and a draw would still be better than a draw and a loss. So
BC hasn't got out of their end yet this half. We're about 8 minutes in.
Yeah, that wind is diabolical. If you're a BC fan, if you're an Ontario fan, you're saying bring it on.
Yeah.
The more the better.
Well, I think both teams need to keep ball in hand. They've been kicking more this half than they were in the last half, and they're not using the kicking option very well at this point. But they're just looking for any option right now because there's been so much contact around that breakdown area. These girls are going to be sore after this game.
Oh, yeah, this is not two-hand touch. I'm always impressed as the level of play increases by age, just how much more physical the girls get. And, going back to our sevens discussion, some of the tackles were just outrageous on the women's side of things. Where
Jen Kish,
yeah,
I mean,
she's like a linebacker out there.
Yeah, so organized, so calm, cool, collected. Well, if you look at players, some of these girls are in university. Nicole Crowley features for the UVic Vikes in Victoria there, and so she'll have a lot of. You just see how calm she is in all the situations leading her team. She's got a lot of experience. She's used to playing against some of the top players in the country in that West Coast League.
I always ask Kieran Crowley if over dinner he's offering up any advice, and he says, "No, I like to stay well away from telling her what to do in that situation." And fair dues. He just wants to be a dad and enjoy watching his daughter.
I'm sure if you had sons, it would be a different conversation. Yeah. Telling your daughter's one thing and telling your sons is another thing.
Possibly. So we're going to set up with the scrum here. This will be a real good chance here. Oh, BC will be putting it in.
I'd imagine growing up around that dinner table, you'd have a good understanding of the game.
Well, yeah. I mean, looks like Kieran's brother is on the coaching staff now, so the whole family's in there for the World Cup, and Neil Barnes, his old pal, so he's surrounded himself with the guys that he knows. BC tapping that ball, and
not a
really,
bad option. Keep
possession. Yeah, kicking it wasn't going to help them because likely wasn't going to find touch, and then you're all of a sudden defending. As we see a nice distribution from the fly half, Nikisa Lavallee. Now there's a penalty.
I'd be considering taking the points.
Yeah, I think they're forgetting that they're locked at 10 now, and let's see, 9:33 gone in this second half. Second 30-minute period.
Tailwind in front of the post, not a bad option.
Petra Woods taking that one up now. Woods trying to get it through the gap once more. I'll tell you, if they give away a penalty here, they'll probably think of taking the points. They're getting nice and close. Just 5 meters out. Blues, they actually have some numbers out to the right. Oh, and good cover tackling by BC there in tight to the line. That is going to be a try for Ontario.
Oh, it's just good, patient, good build-up by Ontario. They just wore BC down and pushed it across.
So I want to say that's either Caitlin Richard or Natalie Cuison. Second rowers featuring on that one. She's wearing the little blue bandana there.
I think BC, they're going to want to kick long off this kickoff, try and pin them deep in their end, and get the ball out to Kiera Malone in the backs there and give her some space to run.
Yeah, she's a dangerous weapon if they can free her, and that was Natalie Cuison getting that important try to pull Ontario ahead 15-10. With the kick to come, not an easy kick on a day like today. The wind can do all kinds of things to your kicking effort, and that's going to be well short. So important miss for BC, because if they can score a try under the posts, that'd be a winner.
Yeah, it's anybody's game right now, still with just under 20 minutes left of the game, Doug.
the Blues have had the lion's share of possession and territory. I mean, we've played virtually the whole second half in the BC end.
Been really impressed with BC's number 10, LaValle. So far for me, she's been the top player in the yellow jersey. Good decision-making, good ball movement, good tackling. And Ontario's responded with a deep kick, pressuring BC in their end.
I think that's Malone with a crucial knock on there. And she might have had a bandage on her head there or something that's come loose.
Might have been an eye patch or something from one of the knocks.
She's been taking some hard shots there for sure.
So Ontario scrum deep in the BC end. It's critical times.
Take from the back of the scrum by Ontario. That's Emily Babcock. Boy, this would be a great response from the last try by Ontario to be able to score another one almost right away, and they're getting close.
Their backs have an overlap out wide, but they might not need it. They're going to score again through the forwards.
And that is another try there for Ontario. And I think that's the other side of the second row pairing, maybe. Tell you in a second there.
It's a great kick response from the Ontario Storm off that kickoff. They just cornered him, put pressure on him back in their 22, and the forwards did the rest of the work for Ontario.
So it looks like that might have been Ingrid Krausbar, number 21, who scored that.
Doug, what's the growth like for women's rugby in Ontario right now?
See, it's, at the high school level it's meteoric, but that doesn't translate through to the club side. I know that some clubs are struggling to maintain more than their top side and maybe a second side. You certainly don't have that, third division type of thing going on there. So
I know the university sevens program is really what I see at the CIS every year. They're typically dominant coming out of Queens and other Ontario schools.
Yeah, I think there's just got to be more work to forge those connections between high schools, universities, and clubs and say, hey, we're aware of you. Please come when you're done with your university or your high school career. We'd like to have you at our club. And those kind of promotions aren't going on now. They're just hoping things happen organically, and I think you got to work at that a little bit.
Recruitment and pathway is key, that's for sure, and that's why we got these scouts here today.
Ingrid Krausbar taking that into contact. And that'll be a whistle coming. Unplayable into that maul, so it's a BC scrum. Do you like that rule? I guess that's fair enough, eh?
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, it's a bit of a reward to tying up the other team and saying, hey, you've got to get it out fast or we'll use it.
Keep the game going. Both the 15s and 7s games, a lot of the laws are to pick the tempo of the game up, make it more friendly for the fans watching, as well as just kind of motivating players to use the ball, not slow it down. Back in the old Cowichan days, it's the rolling maul for 90 meters.
Yeah, exciting to watch if you're in the maul.
Yeah.
If you're on the sideline, not so much.
Ontario's pack in these scrums have been dominant so far this game. They've wheeled them again. If I was Ontario, I'd want to slow this down. You got 14 minutes left, and they've gone quick.
Krausbar again into contact. I'm liking the injection of physicalness that she's bringing in as the ball springs forward. And BC pick it up. Crowley flipping it back to Natasha Johnson.
Some good forward running.
Madison
Morgan.
Woodward with it now. And now that's Kate Shevink. With Ontario leading 22-10, vital that BC score the next try and have something to work off of here. A 7-pointer puts them right back in this game. But that's a bit more like it. At least let's start trying to play down in the Ontario end. The knock-on betraying the BC efforts there as Hetty Agismil tries to pick that ball up. She couldn't quite find the handle, and it'll be how's it a scrum for? It must have been off of an Ontario player. I thought that was a BC knock-on. So I guess that was the first knock was from Ontario. So a lot of people would be interested to know if you're coaching with Mexico and the Mexican women, you've got to coach via translator because, of course, as talented as you are, you're not quite fluent in Spanish, are you?
No, French and Italian are easier for me, but definitely picking up on the Spanish, and the girls are picking up on the English. So sometimes I have to slow down a bit and repeat myself or have one of the girls translate. It's sure nice to come home and coach my women's teams back here because I don't have to slow down for them.
Nikisa Lavalle now finds a gap and offloads to Mackenzie Fowler. And now things are starting to cook with some heat here for the BC women. This is really the first legitimate offensive visit by BC in the opening 15 minutes of the second half. But they're taking those passes standing. And, if you're the coach, you'd be getting a little frustrated. Run onto that ball. Don't stop. And then pick up and run with it.
Yeah, Ontario's defense is just too strong to be taking the ball flat.
So in that period of possession, BC lost about 11 meters without taking a step forward. The ball went down the line, and Ontario was just flat up against them.
Well, when you're a developing player and you've been going backwards for 20 minutes, it's you kind of reactive, hitting the panic button a bit when you get that ball for the first time in the half, right?
Yeah.
So trying to make something out of nothing. But BC's got to be patient. They got to hit the ball at pace. I think Crowley can move the ball a bit faster as well because that Ontario defense is setting up very fast.
I'm Doug Cross with Robin McDowell, and we're at the 20-minute mark of this Canadian Rugby Championship game. Ontario leading 22-10 over BC as that loose ball goes in behind the Ontario offensive line there.
Good pressure by number 7, Morgan Walker with BC. She's been on the front foot all day on defense.
Yeah, she has been laying the tackles in. Now a rolling maul organized by Ontario. It's being rebuffed by BC now, and somewhere in the middle lies the truth. The ball is there, comes out Ontario side, and now finding a half gap. Some good success there.
Big wrap tackle by Maddie Gold at 12. Ontario's just going to want to slow this game down. They got a 12-point lead. There's less than 8 minutes left in the game. If you get any more penalties, you start to walk a bit, pound it into the corner, send it into the trees.
Nothing deliberate, but just everything within the rules. But no one says we got to run over there.
Yeah, just got to work smart.
Yeah.
You got a lot of rugby left this week. You want to save your body and just work the clock as much as possible.
This is it. I mean, some of these ladies will play every minute of every game. Others will come in and out as needed, but it does take a physical toll. Oh, and a bit of a bobbled ball at the back of that scrum there. Alexandra Martin under some pressure, but now Lavalle comes away with it. She's immediately tackled. That ball going back, however. Crowley looking for her options, decides to go left. She finds the inside center, Maddie Gold, to link up with. But again, what we were talking about, every possession, they seem to be going back. That staunch wall of blue, frustrating BC. Now penalty coming against Ontario.
They're going to want to play quick here, Doug.
Yeah. Yeah, the clock is conspiring against him. Crowley takes a quick tap.
You got 2 BC girls on the ground.
They've all gotten mobile now. Oh, and now not leaving their feet at the breakdown. You got to support your own body weight even if you're on offense.
This is where you want to work the clock.
and they're going quick tap. They're not listening to you, Coach. I think they feel like if they could organize one more score here, that'll put it out of reach. Right now, it's a 2-try lead.
Well, going back to what you said earlier, the points for and against helps for sure.
Caitlin Richard cut down as she goes into the line, high tackle. And now it is Michaela Irving trying to make something happen here for Ontario inside the BC 22-meter line. And now another penalty, boy. And now time off. And I think Chris Asmus has seen enough, and it could be card time. Both captains being called out. I guess basically the laws are being ignored with every touch, and he's getting a little frustrated. I apologize. I guess with our 3 microphones are not working in here. Normally we've got a ref mic hooked up. You fill in what he's saying. Go ahead.
I think he's speaking Spanish. Mackenzie Fowler, 13 for BC, has been very good on both attack and also on defense. She had an awkward tackle earlier, the way she came out of it. She's breaking that gain line, but those BC girls are going to have to run those support lines when she breaks through those holes. She's getting isolated right now.
So Ontario clearly frustrating referee Chris Asmus, and BC benefiting from that. They're going to get the line out here right in front of our position. But, they got a long way to go and not a long time to get there.
Well, it's interesting. BC's playing slow and they're down by 12, and Ontario's playing fast. But I think they just want to slow down a bit, get some composure. They don't want any more scrums.
There's Gold stepping through a tackle. She's done well.
Nice offload.
Kira Malone now. Will she finally get around the corner here? There she is, pulling away. She didn't quite hit the NOS tank there to make the final plunge for the line. But great job. But now that ball's gone Ontario's side.
Ontario again going quick.
They've got numbers now. One more pass could have gotten them away, but holding on to it just a moment too long.
Doug, you see she gets tackled. She released back on her feet, hands back on the ball by that Ontario runner. That's great knowledge.
Yeah, not giving away the penalty, holding on to the ball after you're tackled. And, that's some good drilling going on. There's Michaela Irving. Spins that ball. Now
LaValle with another big hit from the number 10 for BC. I'm a little bit sad. These are 30-minute halves because these things have been picking up after the first 20 minutes.
Yeah, BC seems to have found some life and some purpose in the last few minutes. Oh, and that was a hospital pass waiting to happen. That's Krausbar now. Ingrid Krausbar going some 10 meters before the ball is finally stolen by BC.
LaValle again on a nice big break. She's going to want to find space and offload, no support.
Great job by Hadgesmeal. There's Malone nearly getting away. I've never seen a player so fast get frustrated so many times. They're marking her so well over on that wing.
Ontario's
and
done
no
their
free
homework.
passes, yeah.
She'll be a great little sevens player, that girl.
I think so, yeah. We got to get her injected in that. That's what the 15s purists are worried about, though, is all the speedy players are just getting, swept over to the sevens side. But, rising tide floats all boats, and if you can get the interest in rugby up overall, you'll have more people playing it, and they can't all play sevens.
Well, what we did in Regina when I moved here about 5-6 years ago, the women's programs were going to fold, and I pitched the idea of having sevens teams, and then that way, you obviously only need 12 players or 7 on the field, and we kept the teams alive. Well, now the Regina team that was getting dominated by the Saskatoon teams from the north, Regina's now turned the fold with their sevens program, and now we have a 15s team as well, and now we're dominating Saskatoon. So you're right. At least it keeps the league alive, and it also helps develop players because there's far more tackling and I just say responsibility by each player. You can't really hide on a sevens field. That's thing.
Right.
So you have to be a leader and you got to make your tackles.
So an important scrum for BC here with less than 5 minutes to go. They've got to make this trip count, and it's got to count for at least 5 points, if not 7. Immediately wrapped up. The number 8 for BC, Alexandra Martin. And now a penalty against Ontario, so here's a chance. Gold. She's found some space. Pulled down 10 meters out, but the outlet pass is going to net a try to Fowler. And that is Mackenzie Fowler. I think that's her second of the game, and that is an important score for her to make it 22-15.
They're going to want to take this this kick quickly here, Doug, with less than 4 minutes left in the game.
Yeah, if it's what do you think if it's a long odds kick anyway? Do you just take a swipe at it and worry about getting the 7-pointer now?
Absolutely. This BC team needs to get ready. Coach Dave Grisdale's getting them all fired up here. Get your team all ready to go and continue that tempo in the last 2 minutes of the game.
See, now she's waiting for Maddie Gold is waiting for a tee. And the clock, it's ticking. I mean, there's no time off waiting for the tee to come out. And I want to say it's like under a minute that you have to take a kick at goal.
Absolutely. Little stuff like this can change a game, especially in a short game. So you noted in the first couple minutes of the game when BC scored under the post, they didn't have a tee. And it might cost them if they get another try here outside of.
That 2 points does loom large right now. It could be 22-17 instead of 22-15 from that earlier missed kick. And now I'm surprised that she's even got the time to take this kick. We're going on 2 minutes here to get the tee and everything organized.
She's got her hands full. The head crosswind here.
Maddie Gold trying to put this across, and now it falls off the tee. Oh, and she's lost the opportunity. Asmus has seen enough, and, rightfully so. I mean, it was an eternity to get that tee out there, and now we're going to reset it and maybe get a pinner or someone. No, we're going to play some rugby.
Yeah, they've just lost a minute of time in a crucial minute with just less than 2 minutes now on the board for BC to counter. 22-15 for the Ontario Storm.
Yeah, so I would have just said not taking the conversion. Ontario's kicking you the ball, and let's worry about getting the 7 points. We need it one way or the other. So,
well, a young player like that, she'll learn that in these experiences, and the coaches will work with them with some video here, and it's all part of the growing stages you learn when you're a young player.
So, BC, tall task ahead of them inside their own half. They've got to play some mistake-free rugby here, and penalties will help them certainly. And now that penalty's been released, it's gonna be Asmus sending an Ontario player off the field. That's number 3 for Ontario, I think. Catherine Iliano.
Nice line. Big Maddie Gold blowing through another hole.
Now the important thing is that, and you'll see this late in the game sometimes, people run out of ideas and they kick the ball away hoping that something will happen, and they cannot do that. They've got to keep the ball in hand and be patient and do this a few meters at a time.
BC looks a lot more organized at these breakdowns. Crowley's getting better ball and able to distribute it to LaValle quicker.
Mackenzie Fowler now. That's to Kira Malone. Now Malone, she's brought down. She has been well marked this afternoon, and she'll be frustrated that she hasn't had more chances. Ontario stealing that ball. Huge tackle being put in by the BC line.
Kiara Malone's been dangerous all day, but she's getting isolated, Doug. She goes out wide by herself, and her team's got to pick up on the fact that she's having a go, but you also have to not get too far away from everybody as well.
And sometimes when you're that player that's keyed on, play that up, but then release someone else.
Absolutely.
Be ready to have that backdoor pass, someone that's riding on your back pocket, and just get that out to them just before you're tackled.
That's what makes a player like Phil Mack, who plays for the Canadian Sevens team, is you don't know what he's bringing to the table. You take 3 guys to mark him, well, he's just created a 20-foot hole because they're not worried about their hole. They're worried about the man with the ball. And as young Kiera develops, she'll realize her options. And once you start moving the ball and keeping that ball alive, then you start faking the pass and getting into space more.
So
but I was going to say all the credit to her for backing herself all day.
Yeah, so now we're bringing in a replacement front row player because we did lose. It was, I believe, Susan Garwood that got sent to the sin bin for Ontario. So they've brought on a replacement front row player. as is required by the laws. You know, you got to know what you're doing in there. You can't just make it up as you go along. As we're at 30 minutes now, and I feel like there's not going to be too many more chances here for BC.
Ontario's ball. They're going to want to get this ball out of bounds. I'm guessing, depending on the injury time. Yeah.
And they're just kicking it into touch, and that is going to be full time. Ontario holds off a late BC comeback and come away with a 22-15 win. And interesting contest. And here's BC sitting with 2 losses now at this competition. They're going to be wondering what they can do to turn that around.
Well, they play with a lot more fire than they did on the opening night, I believe. And they got lots to build on, but Ontario really dominated. I think the game was won and lost in the forwards today. So good contest, and Ontario's rolling as they get into the business end of the tournament.
So we're going to say goodbye for now for Robin McDowell. I'm Doug Cross. We're going to reset back at near the top of the hour for our next contest, which we said is going to be the Voyageurs and Ontario Blues. And so that'll be a dandy contest coming up here on the Canadian Rugby Championship.com website and rugbycanada.ca. Thanks a lot for watching, and we'll be back in about 45 minutes.